You're married, not a maid. Ladies, this is day 2. I can't believe a lot of you females are sitting down working like a maid in and out every single day. And you're married and you're alone. I don't know how you do it. This is Nancy Mitchell with Love Guru, your guide to better relationships. Ladies, let's get into it. And men, let's get into it. Now, I know that a lot of you married couples, you get married because there's some kind of similarities that you had before. Okay, that's going to be one of the key components of having a good relationship with your husband. So there's going to be some kind of similarities with either, your attitudes, your sex life. And this is going to be one of the reasons why you get, married in the first place. There was this really hot, my chain is a little bit crooked, I think. I don't know. There was this real hot, time where you guys just crave for each other and you can't do it without each other. And you're just, oh my God, so all of that, it's like, I don't know, was years gone by, it just goes through the door. So you got to start thinking about, are you married? Are you married? What is your role? What are you really doing? You got to start thinking about, is this going to be the rest of my life? Basically, you got to think about that. Is this going to be the rest of my life? And it's just crazy that females are going through this and think that, okay, this is going to be the rest of my life. No, it doesn't have to. You can put a stop to it. You can, seek counseling and start figuring a way out to either fix the problem and make it work, or you part. So it's up to you. You have to make that decision. Okay, ladies and men. But I know mostly females are going through this. So I was just going to say, now, you sleep in the same bed, okay? But you're emotionally miles apart. So you're there in the same bed and you guys' minds are just all over the place and you are not even connected. You don't feel intimate. You don't feel like you want to touch each other. You are now looking at other people. You're either cheating. It gets to this point and it's like, really, why do you have to do this? It's just crazy. Let me start with number 1. Physical presence isn't the same as emotional intimacy. So you guys can be there. You can be in the household. You can be together with each other for a long period of time. Months, years. You're together. You don't go, anywhere, or you may go some places or not. It's you in the bed. You're together and you don't feel anything for this person. That's a problem. That is a problem. And, the one thing I would say, I would never tell somebody to get a divorce. I'm not going to ever advise you to do that. You have to make that decision for yourself. However, if you think, that's a problem, the first thing you got to do is seek counseling. You got to seek counseling immediately. You have to both agree to counseling and both agree to sit and do the work and change it and reconnect if it is possible. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to tell anybody to get a divorce. However, if it comes to the point that you guys cannot reconnect, you cannot see eye to eye, and you are not going to ever mend that bridge, mend it to come back, then guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing? If you both realize that you have grown apart too long, or no matter what work you do, it's not reconnecting, you're not gelling back as how you were before, and it would take time. You're not going to see it rapidly, like you go to 1 session or 5 session and it's right there. No, you both have to love each other, both have to want to do the work. And if you don't see that after, 6 months, a year, you're saying, oh, this is, you did everything, then it's maybe time for you to part. Okay? Because nobody wants to live like this for the rest of their life. Okay? Number 2 is going to be, when did you stop talking and start tolerating? Because there's going to be that time when you say to yourself, oh, well, you know what? Just to keep the peace, I don't want to say anything to him. Or just to keep the peace, I don't want to tell her anything. And then you're both feeling resent and you are both in your own ways and you are not even speaking. And I know you can relate to me out there, married couples. There are some of you out there that is not speaking. You're just tolerating, the situation, whatever's going on. You may have a house together. None of you want to buy the other one. None of you want to make a change. And the relationship is done. And you are just tolerating it for what it is. But you guys are no longer in love or don't want to sit and do the work to change this scenario. So, start thinking about that. There's no reason why somebody should stay married and you are unhappy. That is something that I don't agree with. I don't care what church you go to. I don't care what is it, if you have kids or no kids. No one in this world should be unhappy for no reason. And if you love your partner, you love your husband, you love your wife, guys, put in the work to mend the relationship. Put in the work so you can feel reconnected with each other. And put in the work so you can rebuild that connection, rebuild that intimacy with each other, rebuild that trust. And you feel like, okay, this is it. I love her. I want her. I'm going to work at it. Think about that. Okay. Number 3 is going to be loneliness in marriage is a real epidemic. I tell you, guys. There's so many relationships, and not even just married, people that's in relationship, they're in the relationship of convenience. They're in the relationship because they don't want Tom, Dick, and Harry to say, oh my God, it didn't work out. They got a divorce, and, there's just so much relationship that is going on that you are both lonely. And there's only one reason for that. There is a disconnect. There is something that's disconnected from you both, and you have to try and reconnect it. There is no other way. If you are not if no one of the parties are, don't want to put in the work to go get counseling and try to reconnect it, then what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing here? Do you want to stay unhappy for the rest of your life, or you want a happy life? And no matter, you would say, oh my God, but the kids and the church and everything else, but you got to think about it. If you are not good individually, ladies, men, if you're not good individually right now and not happy, you got to try and mend it. If you don't want to, then please split, be done with it, and just, part. That's as simple as I say, because if you don't want to put in the work, then part, because no one should ever be unhappy, whether it's a male or a female. You should not be unhappy in your life and for the rest of your life. And it's because you don't want to part ways. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to the kids if you have kids. It's not fair to anybody. So you have to think about it and just make sure that you're making the right decision for you. Let me go ahead and recap. Again, this is about married, not a maid. We don't want you to sit there and be overworked. Okay, now, number 1 is physical presence isn't the same as emotional intimacy. Very, very different. You can be there, but you're not there. You've checked out. Number 2, when did you stop talking and start tolerating? There are times when you feel like, oh my God, I've argued so many times. I am just fed up. I am tired and I don't want to do it anymore. So let me just go through the motions of putting the breakfast on the table. Let me get his clothes ironed. Let me get this, and okay, go to work, come back, and you just tolerating the relationship. There is no relationship there. A lot of you females do it. A lot of you men do it. Okay. Number 3, loneliness in marriage is a real epidemic, and loneliness is. You could be with your husband. You could be with your boo. You could have a relationship for 10 years, 20 years. And feel lonely. If you're lonely in any point in time in your relationship, something is wrong. You got to go sit down and get counseling. You got to start looking at your relationship, looking at yourself, looking at if there's something that you grow out of love with this person, or the person grow out of love with you, or what is that disconnect? And you got to try and see if you can mend it. Because again, remember, you both said, hey, we're going to get married. Walk down that aisle. You said, I do. You both said it. So to be honest with you, before you even part ways or thinking about that's the only decision, try and mend it. If you did love this person, try and mend it, because at the end of the day, you did went down and you said, I do. That's all I have for you guys today. Anybody who you think this content would help, please go along and share it. I like for them to see it. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. So as soon as a video is there, it drop, you're notified immediately. So that's all I have for today. This is day 2 of a 7-day series of Married, You're Not a Maid. And this is Nancy Mitchell from Love Guru, your guide to better relationships. Peace. I am out.